everybody. Welcome to another episode of Two Strike Noise, your mom's favorite weekly, usually, baseball history podcast. We took a little bit of time off there for the holidays, but we're back. It's a new year, and we are on episode, 308. Joining me, as always, from the Pacific Northwest, the Mike Kingery studio this week. We've moved. Joining me is my co-host, Mark A. Johnston. A little bit under the weather, but he's here for us nonetheless.
Yes, the weather is above me, and yet here I am, ready to talk baseball.
I guess if you're over weather, you're dead, because then you would be in.
You think?
I guess you would be in heaven, right? You'd be looking down on the weather.
Over the weather. Yeah. There you go.
I'm feeling over the weather today. All right.
Good for you.
Just Mike Kingery in college, we had a joke where if you mumbled his last name, it sounded like you were saying Ken Griffey. So made him sound a little bit more, I don't know, elevated. But Mike,
I got to work with Mike a whole year in Tacoma when he was in the minors, and what a nice guy. He's just a really cool guy.
And if you mumble his name, it sounds like somebody else, like a whole thing.
Yeah, Mike Kingery.
All right, I want to start this off, New Year. I'm going to start this off. We rarely talk about anything other than baseball. But I think, Mark, we can agree that one of our favorite movies, you and I, that is not baseball related and is a Western is probably Tombstone. And I don't think that's a reach.
No, I love Tombstone.
Yeah,
one of my favorite, most quotable. I have a picture with me and three of the guys from Tombstone.
Oh, yeah.
One of these.
You showed me that, I think.
I went to these conventions.
Very cool. I love that movie. I think most guys do. I think most people do. But I saw this. I didn't know this. So, at the end of the movie, Doc Holliday goes and meets Johnny Ringo.
Yes.
You wasn't expecting Doc, but Doc shows up and he goes, "Johnny Ringo, you look like somebody just walked over your grave."
Yes.
And actually, Johnny Ringo's body was found under that oak, not that oak tree that they filmed it to, but where this actually took place was found under an oak tree, and his grave is still there and is a tourist attraction now.
No kidding.
So you can do that. And also, I didn't know this, Johnny Ringo was found with a single shot to his right temple. It is believed that he took his own life.
What?
So I don't know. This is Hollywood. Did Doc Holliday really show up here instead?
It's way better if Doc shot him.
Yeah. We know that Han shot Greedo first.
Of course. And then Lucas had to slip in that fake shot.
But that movie, I agree, just so quote, like Skin That Smoke Wagon is one of, just because.
Let's go to work.
Who says Skin That Smoke Wagon? That sounds like an adult film more than it does something that you would say.
My favorite line is when Johnny Ringo comes up to him and he says, "Hey, you must be Doc Holliday." And he says, "That's the rumor."
The one time that he says it, he goes, "Oh, Johnny, I apologize. I forgot you were there. You may go now."
You may go now.
All right. You can catch all of this on our Tombstone podcast, which is, by the way, called Skin That Smoke Wagon, anywhere you get this podcast. But let's actually talk about some baseball. What do you say to get underway here? So, Mark, new year, same old Lenny Dykstra.
Yeah, I saw that.
Jeez, we can say whatever we want about him, so we're going to. Former big leaguer Lenny Dykstra got into some trouble just after the new year passed on January 1st. He was pulled over and found to be in possession of narcotics and drug paraphernalia during a state police traffic stop in Blooming Grove, Pennsylvania. They stopped his SUV for a traffic violation, and they found narcotics and narcotic-related equipment and paraphernalia. During an interview with the newspaper, the Tribune Times of Scranton, for my Office fans, in 2024, Dykstra admitted to abusing drugs, but said he didn't consider himself an addict. If you abuse drugs, doesn't that make you an addict? If you abuse them?
Not if you abuse them only once in a great while.
All right. Lenny Dykstra still up to his usual stuff. Shenanigans, I guess, tomfoolery.
Yeah, he's being a scoundrel is what he's doing.
Along the same lines of awful former big leaguers, John Rocker.
So another winner.
Yeah, so we talked about him a couple of months ago, but now 51 years old, the old flash-in-a-pan steroid closer. Technically an adult, I guess he's 51 years old, but is still out there running the same old lines he's been doing since 1999. Back in those days, like we covered it earlier, just a month or so ago, he was complaining about the 7 train and anyone that didn't look like him. Now, it's unfortunately much of the same. The spark point being Here he got cut off at a Hilton Garden Inn bar in Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, Lord.
Just when you think you couldn't go any lower, the Hilton Garden Inn bar in the lobby cuts you off. So Rocker was in town to, quote, personally investigate, end quote, long since debunked fake stories about public funding for immigrant child care centers, because that's what retired relievers with a history of racism do with their own free time, I guess. Rocker claims that he had just a couple of drinks before the staff told him he couldn't order anymore and asked him to leave. So instead of doing what a normal person would do, be a little bit embarrassed, realize they're being maybe a little bit loud, leave, go hit up a Taco Bell and sleep it off, Rocker instead did what, you expect him to do. He took to the internet to blame the woke mob for getting him kicked out of a Hilton Garden Inn bar. He's convinced that the hotel staff, who most of which were probably not even alive when he was pitching, he says that they not only recognized him, but they staged a coordinated political hit on his right to drink and rant about immigrants. Oh, this guy is a piece of work. But I mean, to be fair, he's out there on the front lines, paying his own way to do it even. Nobody's even paying for him.
Yeah, I tell you what. If I want someone to investigate something, I'm going straight to John Rocker.
Exactly. The hotel hasn't even bothered to respond to him. Usually when these things happen, there has to be an official response and all that. They're like, it's John Rocker. No one cares.
Yeah, exactly. They're just like, don't worry, we're not going to sully our reputation by having John Rocker speak ill of us.
Yeah, they just probably, you're cut off and you're not welcome back. And that was like it. But beyond what we've talked about him from being stupid before as a player, let's not forget that also in the early 2000s, he made headlines for directing slurs at patrons in a Dallas restaurant. And then last year was on social media demanding an American citizen option for Uber rides because he didn't want to be driven by someone who was riding a camel 12 months ago, end quote.
At least he put it in a kind way.
John Rocker makes Lenny Dykstra look like an upstanding citizen.
Unfortunately, yes.
Like Lenny Dykstra could win the FIFA Peace Prize at this rate compared to John Rocker. He also has voiced his deep concern that the Super Bowl will be stained by fellow American Bad Bunny's halftime performance. Maybe he could go hang out with Aubrey Huff. They'd probably be best friends. Let them.
Yeah, I tell you what, like I said, if I need something done, I'm going to John Rocker. I find it amusing that the Hilton didn't even respond. And let me ask you something. Let me ask you something. What's worse, a Hilton bar, a bowling alley bar, or a Denny's bar?
You know what? I have spent a lot of time at Hilton Garden Inn bars. I'm not going to, because that's where, especially when I was working at the Cowboys, I stayed there once a week and they knew me. Like I was Norm. I even delivered it's a dog eat dog world and I'm wearing Milk-Bone boxers or whatever that line. I even did that one time. So I would actually say that because that's not, you don't expect to get kicked out of a hotel bar.
Right.
Ugh. All right, let's go on to something a little bit lighter. What do you say? I didn't mean.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
By the way, this episode today, I have so many of these stories that I've just been not able to talk about because I've been waiting to record this. That we're gonna label this a Tales from the Dugout light episode. I've got a ton of these that I want to talk about. This one though, like I said, is a little bit more light. So you know how Topps makes new cards throughout the year now. I don't know if it's every week or just when they decide. I don't know, but they're called Topps Now. And you can get digital, like I guess you can just collect them on your phone, which doesn't seem like a lot of fun to me. But they're usually a limited run, I think. I have never really honestly paid attention to them, but they're unique, newsworthy events that happen during the season typically. So last season, O'Neal Cruz of the Pirates hit a home run that was clocked at 122.9 miles per hour off the bat. That is the hardest hit ball ever tracked via StatCast. So nobody since StatCast has been up and running has ever hit a ball harder than that ball. It was a home run. So Topps made a card for it. The home run was served up by Brewers rookie pitcher Logan Henderson. So this is under the category, I found this on Reddit, but it wasn't bros being bros. I think this was just in the baseball subreddit. But Logan's longtime friends gave him a very thoughtful Christmas present. They got him a graded version of said card celebrating Cruz's hardest hit ball ever. It's graded a 10. Friends trolling their old friend is like the best, especially if that friend has a sense of humor, like Logan obviously does.
That's hilarious.
He posted a picture of it, and his friends are in the background. You can just see their smiles of a certain kind as he's looking at it.
That's great. I love the idea.
That's a great idea. Speaking of former Brewers and Mariners and Met, my boy, Daniel Vogelbach is back in the big leagues.
He is. I saw that too.
He is returning to the Brewers as a hitting coach. Now, the article that I read says that he coached last year for the Pirates, but it didn't say where. So I don't know if it was in the big leagues or if it was in the minor leagues, but I guess I just don't get hitting. And if you look at my average during my men's league, you'll agree with me. But how do you tell a guy whose lifetime batting average is 219 that he's in charge of major league hitters?
Yeah, that's a tough one. The thing about Vogelbach is he had a really good eye.
Yes, I absolutely agree.
He could walk a million times, and so maybe he'll drill that into their heads. I don't know. As far as hitting the ball, I don't know how he's going to tell anyone to hit opposite field.
Or just go with it and dump it the other way for a single.
No, it's turn on it and crush it.
Rip it and grip it.
That's the philosophy.
Now, here on this podcast, we don't put a lot of stock in batting average as much anymore, which is, right. I have certainly come around in the last maybe year that batting average is still useful, but only if you also present to me on base and slugging. I can get a full picture of this player and what they do at the plate with those three numbers. But if you just give me batting average, it is completely useless. But absolutely. Batting average, in my mind, the floor when a batting average is actually useful is it tells me how somebody handles the bat, whether they can put the bat on the ball or not. Mario Mendoza has a higher lifetime average than Daniel Vogelbach. And Mario Mendoza is like the poster child for a no bat player, right?
Right. Yeah. The Mendoza line, of course.
Did Mario Mendoza ever? And of course, I'm assuming most of our listeners know that Mario Mendoza's actual lifetime average was 220, not 200. So
that's right.
Vogie's 219 is below Mario Mendoza's career average. And in fact, Vogelbach's highest single season batting average was 238, and that was spread out among 3 teams in a single season. So wow. I was trying to remember power hitters that became successful batting coaches. I came up with these names. Don Baylor.
Sure.
I don't know if I want to say successful, but longer tenured batting coaches, I guess that to me makes it sound like they're successful if they keep their jobs. Don Baylor, Don Mattingly. Which leads me to believe that only if your name is Don will it work out. But
that's
then
possible.
Edgar Martinez, I came up with that. There's a power hitter, but also a very good average hitter. So a little bit.
And his name's not Don.
Yeah. And Don Baylor hit for okay average, but Mattingly, of course, was a batting champion as well. But power hitters that didn't work out, Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds. I had a harder time coming up with big power guys that had successful careers as a batting coach than I did that didn't. Because when you've got Daniel Vogelbach, you've got a lot of guys, pitching coaches as well, that might have not even made the majors, or if they did, it was just for a cup of coffee. These guys that have longer careers tend to not really, maybe they just don't want to be in baseball anymore because they stuck around and had a longer career. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I was just wondering if you, off the top of your head, could come up with power hitters that were good batting coaches. And I think it's going to be a tough one, but maybe we'll revisit it. Give it some thought.
Yeah, give me a couple days.
Okay.
Or weeks.
Or the listeners can chime in too. I want your honest thoughts on this one, Mark. We've got Hall of Fame. The voting is wrapping up. We're about a week away from the announcement of who will be inducted this year. And looks like it's going to be Carlos Beltran and Andrew Jones. 2 center fielders, which is rare. You get 2 people from the same position going in, but it looks like that's going to be what it is. Now, I want your honest thoughts on Felix Hernandez and the Hall of Fame, or Larry Hernandez as well. Either or will do. I've got a little spiel here. I'll give you a minute because I've just sprung this on you. But you watched him for most of his career in person. I watched a good chunk of it in person as well there in Seattle. He is currently trending to maybe make it in the next year-ish ish or so. He's plus 20 or something right now from last year. And he was one of the, if not the first pitcher in a long time to win a Cy Young on a not great team with what looked like kind of pedestrian numbers until you look at the team he was on. He went 13-12 the year he won it. The Mariners were not great. Like Vogelbach and batting average, though, wins and losses, not really something we put a whole lot of stock into anymore. It's not like pitchers are the sole reason a team wins or loses a game that they pitch in, unless they're sometimes Felix Hernandez. Sometimes he took over the game and it didn't matter what else was going on. But there is not a single Hall of Fame metric that he is even within sniffing distance of the average Hall of Famer, if you look on Baseball Reference.
Right.
The similarity scores of pitchers compared to Felix, Dave Stieb is the only pitcher in his similarity scores that even really deserves a second look at being a Hall of Famer. There is a record number of first-time voters this year, including Ryan Fagan, who we spoke to just about a month ago or so. Are we seeing a new school of voters is what I'm asking. Are we seeing new voters look at things like the quality of teams that players played on and, what they did? So like a 13-12 record when you win the Cy Young. I'm wondering if that's the case. Felix was on some bad teams. Felix was on a lot of bad teams. It was like he and Ichiro versus the world for a good part of his career. Maybe minus one Junino here and there. That is still the best nickname we have ever come up with, is Mike Junino. I am looking at another chart here that lists the largest gaps between a player's WAR in their 20s versus their 30s. So they've broken it down by pitcher and catcher. By batter, the largest ever is actually Mickey Mantle. 20 through 29, he had an 83.3 WAR, and then when his body broke down, ages 30 through 39, it was only a 25.5 WAR. That was a difference of 57.8 WAR in those 2 decades of his career. Ken Griffey Jr. is actually third on that list, and fourth is Andrew Jones, who is very close in terms of the difference. But when you look at pitchers, Christy Mathewson is number one. 79.2 WAR, ages 20 through 29, and then only a 21.9, ages 30 through 39, for a difference of 57.3. Felix is fourth on this list. His ages 20 through 29 WAR was 47.2, and his WAR 30 through 39, whatever seasons he played, was exactly 0. So his top years were at best 9 years, ages 20 through 29.
Right.
I am just curious to hear what your thoughts are here. He played for 15 years. He came into the league at age 19, only appeared in 12 games. And then 2019 was really his last season. And that was, I guess, the last 3 years of his career were throwaways. Age 31, 32, and 33. He went 15-27 with an ERA over 5. Yeah. So those are just, if you forget about those, it's literally his age 20 through 30. And those are the only years that you can really look at as a legitimate Hall of Famer. And he was on some awful teams. Do you think King Felix is a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, that's a tough one for me because my heart is absolutely. Just from being a Seattle fan and we're there and following the Mariners, he was the only breath of fresh air we had at certain times. And they used to have this commercial, "Hey, happy Felix Day," because we knew we would be in that ballgame. And like he said, the teams that he pitched for, they didn't score a lot of runs. That was back then. The Mariners' biggest problem was scoring runs, and we just couldn't get anything across there. So hence the 1-loss records of 13-12, 14-14, 12-10, etc. So does he belong in the Hall of Fame? He was certainly dominant for an era of his career. 2.27 ERA 1 year, 2.49 another year. But it's not like your typical pitcher career year to get you into the Hall of Fame. The career overall, although he has a 49.8 WAR career, which is nothing to shake his stick at, does he belong in the Hall? I hate to say this, but I don't have him there. I just think he doesn't have the numbers, and I think his dominance for a period of time is amazing. And if that's something you think should get you into the Hall of Fame, I understand that. A dominant player during a period of time where they were more dominant than the rest of the season, the rest of their career. So does Felix belong in the Hall of Fame? I hope so. I really would like to see that happen. Would I vote for him? I might, but in all honesty, I don't see him as a Hall of Famer personally.
I think I'm on board with you. Yeah, I don't know. We watched him in person with some of those bad teams, and he was definitely the best player in that dugout. But
yeah, absolutely.
When you look at this, you mentioned he had 49.8 career WAR. The average Hall of Fame pitcher has a 72.9 career WAR. So that is 23 points higher on average. If you look at his Jaws, his 7-year peak, his WAR during that time was 38.5. The average Hall of Famer is 49.8.
Right.
And WAR does try to, it's certainly not perfect, it does try to separate the player into an individual more than those numbers like ERA and wins and losses and that kind of stuff. So I'm not sure that he belongs there. And if he did, is he going to be thought of Harold Baines and Jack Morris as lower tier? If there is such a thing, I don't care if I'm in the Hall of Fame, but
for me, exactly.
There is definitely a difference between inner circle guys like Nolan Ryan and Ricky Henderson for that matter, and people, if Felix were there, or Harold Baines and those kind of guys who do deserve to be there. Now, I do want to say this. King did hit a home run, a grand slam, even one of his 4 career hits. Got to take into account his batting. And he did take a selfie with me outside of the LV store in Japan. So are these things being factored in?
That's right.
I don't know. We'll have to ask
him.
It
might be.
Because he might want to get that picture with me. He might want to submit that for your consideration to the voters. All right. Mark, we have made reference in the past to Greg Maddox and his sense of humor and his practical jokes that he plays. We have made reference to one in particular several times over. And frankly, I think if Greg Maddox could have ever been teammates with Jorge Posada or Moises, they would have gotten along really well together because they could have 2 birds with 1 stone kind of thing if he was playing the Joker.
I see that. Yeah.
So Maddux has never admitted to his most famous shower prank that he's been charged with by many times by many different players. Now, I'll just warn anybody if you're listening to this in a car or somewhere with somebody younger or whatever, this is a little bit of locker room potty humor, potty being the key word here. I'm going to edit it, but it's still implied. So just know that, maybe skip forward 2 minutes or so here if that is the case. But Rod Friedman, aka the pitching ninja, talked to both of these guys and brought up this myth to see if it is such a myth. So this is a 2-minute long clip. Greg Maddox's interview is first, and then we get to hear from Chipper Jones on this subject as well. So just take a listen to this first, and then we'll come back and discuss.
People like to make stuff up as time goes by. It seems if somebody peed on somebody in the shower, I got blamed on it frickin' 2 years later. Like all of a sudden that person didn't do it, I must have done it. So I took the blame for a lot of stuff and still do. I still hear stories, and I don't remember that story that way.
No, we're telling the truth, and he's a friggin' liar.
Yeah.
I have witnesses. He peed on me in the shower. Yes, 100%. I can cite my source right now. Eddie Perez, backup catcher for us for a long time, will back me up because he was the only other person in the shower at that point. He did it to me when I was young enough that he knew I wouldn't, because I can't knock out the $80 million man, whatever he was. I'm still making basically league minimum. And yeah, so I can't really do anything. I wasn't real happy about it, but we were in the shower, so I just rinsed off and swept it under the rug. He came in after playing golf one day and didn't take a shower. The sanitary sock bin was right there next to him, and he took out a sock and wiped with it, threw it back in the sanitary sock bin, and waited for somebody to pick it up. We used to wear these thin white socks under our stirrups and whatnot. And sure enough, it was me. One day I came in and I put the sock on, and I had a strip all the way up my shin from Greg Maddox. So what are we going to do?
I think the thing that disturbs me most about those, and we got that extra bonus sanitary joke, is that Chipper felt he had to explain what a sanitary sock was.
Yeah, I guess to layman's terms, would they know? I don't know. I think people know what a sanitary sock is.
Younger fans might not know. They might just never touched them, never seen them. Although a lot of like rosin, I guess you buy rosin bags now in actual things, but rosin bags used to be in rolled up sanitary socks, weren't they?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And you used to keep baseballs in sanitary socks. They're very utilitarian.
They are.
All right. I still think and Chipper threw Maddox's personal catcher under the bus there. He threw Eddie Perez under the bus.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
We'll see how that goes. All right. Another thing, Bichette, he's been in the news a bit lately. Where's he going to sign? What's he going to do? There is a steakhouse in Toronto called Animal, ANIML. They ran out of money for the last A in their
bummer
in the title.
They couldn't buy an A.
They could not buy an, although they've got one in the beginning, but they forgot that one. They're listed as a Toronto steakhouse and cocktail den. Not a Coke den or an opium den, but a
cocktail
den. They're offering Bichette, quote, steak for life if he re-signs with the Blue Jays.
Ooh, man.
Steak for life sounds like a single steak that he has to make last for a lifetime. It should be steaks for life. But regardless.
One really big steak.
Yeah, really. Well, I'll tell you about this steaks here in a minute. So they took out an ad in the paper and it reads, Dear Bo Bichette, Toronto suits you. The city, the energy, the fans. It all feels right. Much like a properly cooked steak. At Animal, we believe in commitments that last. The craft, the care, and the city we call home. In that spirit, we ask you to re-sign with the Toronto Blue Jays and consider this our promise. Steak for life on us. No negotiations, no fine print, just a standing reservation at our table. Stay in Toronto. We'll handle dinner. You bring home the hardware. So they aren't providing silverware, apparently, for him.
No, I guess he's got to eat it with his hands.
Or he's got to bring his own. But Bo did name this den as one of his favorite places to eat in an article last year. So it's not like a local Denny's is just offering like a free Grand Slam breakfast once a week. This is some place that he goes and that he likes. So I went to their website to check it out, see what kind of steaks there are. Steaks. I meant that as like STAKES. What kind of steaks we're dealing with these steaks. They have a 40-ounce porterhouse that you can get for only $275.
Wow.
They probably do one of them that they wrap in gold too. Now that's
Canadian money, right?
Yes, but still, that's
so $1.42.
No, we're not going to do that.
Okay.
I got things to say, but I'm not going to say it. But for $275, that Salt Bay dude better be coming and sprinkling the salt on my steak for that much money. But wherever he signs, the team's production staff, in-house production staff, will have an easy job on Star Wars night because Bo Bichette is pretty.
Not a tough one to think of.
Not a tough one when you got to pair him with a Star Wars character. All right, let's see. I got two more stories here before we get into Wax Packs Heroes. First of all, Kyle Farnsworth. When was the last time you thought about pitcher Kyle Farnsworth?
Just when you just mentioned him right there.
Yeah, exactly. What if I told you that last year he was the most searched pitcher in the entire state of Iowa on Baseball Reference?
No kidding. Okay.
Yeah. So a new year, every single entity on the internet except for us has a wrapped feature, shows you what you did during the year regarding them. Baseball Reference is no different. They had a most viewed pitcher per state, and Clayton Kershaw almost ran the entire table.
Nice.
Not who I would be trying to look up, but regardless, there it is. The only states where he was not the most searched pitcher were Oklahoma. Can you guess who the most searched pitcher in the state of Oklahoma was last year?
Nolan Ryan.
It was.
Yes.
He's not. Is he from? I thought he was from Texas.
He's from Alvin, Texas. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Oklahoma and Texas don't get along. But
yeah, I don't know. It's like a little cap on top of Texas up there.
Yeah, pointing. It's got a finger. Yeah, somehow Nolan Ryan was the most searched pitcher in Oklahoma. Louisiana, Paul Skeens. That's not a stretch. But also West Virginia and Pennsylvania, which makes sense. Steeler fans there. Let's see. Justin Verlander in Ohio and Virginia. Charlie Morton in Maryland. Jacob deGrom in New Jersey. And Max Fried in New York. And then Garrett Crochet swept the whole of New England, which is understandable. All active pitchers except for Nolan Ryan. He's from Texas, so again, doesn't make sense. But one state stands out. That would be Iowa. Iowa is so different that the Music Man has an entire song about it and its residents that I can sing for you if you want that to happen.
Let's do that on the Broadway musical show we have.
Or just the Music Man show, which is called Pick a Little, Talk a Little. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts. And that's a deep cut. If you're not a big Music Man fan, you might not get that, but we're a niche podcast. I could give you 1,000 guesses, and you would probably never come up with Kyle Farnsworth as being the most searched for pitcher in Iowa last year for some unknown reason. He last pitched in the big leagues in 2014, after all. I'm sure that there was some intern at Baseball Reference just like sifting through SQL tables trying to figure out why this is happening.
I'm sure.
But they finally got to the bottom of it. Oh, excuse me. So we finally got to the bottom of it. Somebody DM'd, I'm not sure who they DM'd, somebody at Baseball Reference. It might have been Adam. I don't know. But somebody's posted an exchange through texts here. Dear Baseball Reference, I'm telling you, my dad is the reason Kyle Farnsworth is #1 in Iowa. And the response is just, oh, great. Love to hear it. Sure it is. But no, I hope this is true. The response is no, but actually he is. When he does Immaculate Grid every day on his lunch break, he doesn't know how to switch Chrome tabs. So every time he looks someone up, he goes to the home screen where he has Kyle Farnsworth's page pinned and will look from there. So he probably visits Kyle's page 30 times a day or more. So a boomer is why Kyle Farnsworth
That's outstanding.
I'm not going to lie, I probably look up Ricky Henderson's Baseball Reference page probably 4 or 5 times a week.
Yeah.
And then just doing the grid and our other baseball dailies, I do look up the same players a lot, but that is great that Kyle Farnsworth is #1 in Iowa just because of some boomer doesn't know how to actually bookmark Baseball Reference.
That's pretty awesome.
That is funny. All right, last one for today, and I've got another question for you here, Mark.
Yeah.
Who is the most hated player in your franchise's history since you became a fan? And I'm going to limit you to Seattle rather than Houston here, just because we talk more about Seattle than
I
Houston.
could name the whole team with the Astros as being hated.
Yeah, but your fans hate.
Yes.
So everyone hates the Astros, and everyone, except for apparently Carlos Beltran, that was involved in it, right? They're going to get booed till the day that they retire. They're going to get booed when they go into the Hall of Fame, which a good deal of them are going to.
Right.
But who do Mariner fans hate that have been on the Mariners since you became a fan, which is pretty close to when they came in the league?
Sure. Mariners fans hate Alex Rodriguez.
Oh, there's that. I guess that's an easy one, huh?
Yeah. I was there the first time he came back with the Rangers, and I have never seen a reaction remotely close to what that reaction was when he stepped up to the plate. It was this wholehearted, everybody, 47,000 people booing at the same time, throwing fake money on the field, signs everywhere. It was like, I was cracking up.
WWE event, and he was a heel.
Yeah, it really was. He was like all the way back to Sergeant Slaughter when he was a bad guy.
Oh, yeah.
Bad hatred.
When he was Iranian all of a sudden with the sheep.
Yes, that's right. Yes, it was that the vitriol was that thick. So, yeah, I'd have to go with A-Rod.
Wow. I guess that's an easy one. Is there anybody else that goes in that hated category?
Boy, I don't know.
Certainly not to the extent.
No, not to the extent. I don't know. Who else do Mariners fans hate that was on the team? I don't know. We usually like our guys pretty much. Maybe Milton Bradley.
Yeah, I was going to say, so I put together my list here and if we're not including owners, because obviously there would be a number one easy here for A's fans, but this is my list that I came up with for the A's, and Milton Bradley is on this list as well. Billy Butler is number one, Country Breakfast. Just a big contract for somebody that didn't deserve it, and then ratted out one of his teammates to a sponsor. It's just some bad stuff. Jim Johnson. Remember Jim Johnson? He was a closer for the Orioles probably 10 years ago. Had a great year in Baltimore. I think the A's, I don't know if it was Houston Street or somebody, that they had a great closer, and the A's have always treated closers as expendable.
Right.
We can easily find somebody else to do this. But they signed Jim Johnson to this big contract, and he didn't even last half a year. He was so bad, and he talked smack while he was on the team, and he got booed at home a lot just coming into the game. Matt Holliday obviously had no desire to be in Oakland, just a jerk while he was here, and just a miserable person while he was playing for the A's. Two guys that I came up with the A's fans loved, but then they left. And one is Josh Reddick, and he was on the Astros and right during that time. But A's fans loved him, but he left, and then he just smack talked them.
Ooh, wow.
He was the fans in right field, even like right field Will, like the diehards there loved him. They would make special signs for him, throw things down for him, throw food for him, and it seemed like it was a match made in heaven, but he talked a lot of smack after he left. And then Kurt Suzuki, who I think probably his politics have a lot to do as to why nobody likes him. And Mark Mulder. Those two together are persona non grata now in the Bay Area, I will say. But hey, I just want to know. I want to know other listeners of your team, and since you have become a fan, who are those players that just your entire fan base hates, even though they played for your team? Put some more thought in that. Listeners, let us know who is some of the most hated, and then others that are disliked a lot from your team's fan base that played for your team. It would be a fun exercise just to go through teams and try to figure it out on our own. But we are not going to do that, because I can see producer Mitch is in there standing on his head trying to get our attention, that it is time that we wrap this part of the show up, and we will do so. And we'll go ahead and head into the final segment of the show, the segment that is so popular that MOB Network is copying it every Sunday now. But it is time for Wax Pack Hero. All stars in his eyes. Wax Pack Hero. Gonna pull a Wax Pack Hero. All stars in his eyes. Wax Hero. On the podcast tonight.
Hello again, friends. It's time for another installment of Wax Pack's Heroes. Before we can start, though, let's go over the rules. Mark and Jeff are going to play an old-fashioned game of war, except this is more like baseball reference war. They'll each get one card, and will score the baseball reference war of the year of the card. But wait! They can add or subtract points depending on certain aspects of the card and the player's season. Any 80s baseball aesthetics the card displays will earn an extra 1/10 of a point. Or if they don't like something, like 2-in-1 stirrups, they can subtract a 1/10 of a point as well. Also, if the player won any awards that season, they get a 1/2 a point for each. If the player led the league in any categories, they'll get a 1/10 of a point for each positive category, but minus 1/2 a point for each negative one. If there's a Hall of Famer anywhere on the card, that's a whole extra point. If the player had a Costacos Brothers poster made of them, they get a 1/2 a point for that. If Ricky Henderson or Nolan Ryan get pulled, the round is over. Jeff automatically wins if either pulls a Ricky card, and Mark wins if Nolan is pulled. If the player has any pop culture references, they get a 1/2 a point, unless they appeared on Seinfeld, The Simpsons, or Sabrina the Teenage Witch. That, friends, is a whole point for each. If the player was suspended for off-the-field mischief during their career or are on the 2SN, don't talk about list. That's a -0.5 and a whole point, respectively. So with that out of the way, it's time to play Wax Pack Heroes.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Vin Scully, for giving us the rules to the game. Right now, as I look up to the scoreboard, Mark, I have taken a slight lead here. I'm up 6-4. Still early on in this season, but what we are going to do is we've got a pack from executive producer Marshall, who has usurped Mitch. Mitch is just the producer, I guess. Marshall's the one with the money and the ideas. He's writing the check. So but he sent in a pack here. He usually has some themes to these as well that we try and guess. But we're going to do that. And Mark, you have them. So I'm going to let you go ahead and decide which one you want and whether you want to go first or second. And then we'll get started.
I have this certified envelope with the cards in it that was left inside of a mason jar on the porch at Funk and Wagnalls. So
is that the top 10 list? Is that the Letterman trio?
That was Johnny Carson.
Actually. Oh, okay.
So opening it now.
Was that for Karnak or what the heck was that for?
I think so, actually, yes. So we're going to go, it's a mixed years, and you've got to figure out what all these guys have in common. And that always lands on you because I always have the answer.
All right. You want to go first or second?
I like to go first.
All right, go for it.
All right, so we're starting off with Red Sox player Bob Zupchik.
How do you spell that? Because I've never heard of him.
And this is a 92 tops.
He sounds Polish.
Zupchik.
First round draft pick, 32nd overall by the Red Sox. Wow. Maybe that might be I might have just stumbled upon. We'll see. Bob Zupchik played for the U.S. while he was in college. Overall, 4 years in the big leagues, 4 with the Red Sox and part of 1 with the White Sox. You said this was 1991?
It's a 92 card.
92. Okay, that was good because 91 was a -0.7 WAR in his rookie year. 92, though, a bit better. He was an outfielder. Let's see. He hit 276, 322 on base, slugged 352 for an 85 OPS plus, 3 home runs, 43 ribs, and a WAR of .8. Is there anything on that card that is going to help you out?
No, nothing at all. He's just standing there looking at the camera like, what is that thing?
He's never seen one. He went to Oral Roberts, so maybe they don't have cameras there. I don't know.
Could be a rule.
Nothing's going to help you here. Let's see. Does he have anything that is going to help you? Only hit 7 career home runs, but 2 of them were grand slams during his rookie season. Only other players who have accomplished this feat are Ellis Burks and Ryan Kalish.
Okay, that's interesting.
I see played in the Mexican League for a little bit, but that was about it. Not much happening there. So it looks like a .8 for you and Bob Zupchik.
All right. That's something, at least. It's not the negative or the manager's card.
No.
So I think you got me here, though, because we're going to go with Royals pitcher Mark Gubza.
Goobs.
This is a 90 tops.
All right, 1990 for Goobs. All right, he was a second round pick. So there goes. Oh, but he's got a Z in his last name, just like the first guy did. So keep an eye on that one. Let's see, you said 1990?
Yes.
All right. Overall, 14 years in the big leagues for Goobs, 13 in Kansas City, 1 for the Anaheim Angels of Los Angeles. In 1990, with the Royals, he went 4-7 with a 4.50 ERA, 94 innings. Looks like he was injured here for part of the year. Only 16 games, 101 hits, 71 strikeouts, an 86 ERA plus, and a 1.2 WAR. So just barely. Let's see if we can hold on here. Anything on the card going to help me out?
No, and you can see one ankle, but you can't tell if it's real or fake stirrups.
Okay.
So I can't give or take away a point for there. Nothing else. It's him pitching, and there's no science teacher glasses or anything like that.
Okay. Looks like he's been doing color commentary for the Angels for quite a while now. Is there anything else, though, that's going to help me out? I doubt it. Nothing visual. No, does not look. Sounds like he's friends with Mike Trout because they're both big Eagles fans. But yeah, but I'll take it. I'm up 1-0. We're playing best of 3. So all right, and my theory is that everybody's got a Z in their last name.
Let's see this next guy. This is my hitter, the one and only Blue Jays, Rene Gonzalez.
Now, I think of him as an Oriole, and I think of him all the time because didn't he wear 88?
I think so, yeah.
Which was
that guy.
That was a bullpen catcher's number when he was playing.
Yes.
Let's see. Yeah, he wore 88. His first couple of years in Montreal, he wore 19. And then his final season with the Rockies, apparently 88 wasn't available and he had to wear 28. But every other year, he wore 88. What year was this again?
This is a 92 top.
92. All right. Overall, 13 years in the big leagues. He played for a lot of teams. Going to be a good grid guy there. 92, though, he was with the California Angels. He had a good year. He hit 277, 363 on base, 398 slug for a 114 OPS plus. He had 7 home runs, 38 RBIs, 7 stolen bases, and a 2.7 WAR.
Wow.
Is there anything on that card that is going to help him out?
No, it's just like a bust, and there's no glasses or anything cool like that.
All right. Let's see. He was traded for Denny Martinez at one point, El Presidente. And let's see. Oh, boy. He's got like a 3-sentence paragraph on Wikipedia. That is a crime. Why did he wear number 88 is what I want to know.
Yeah, really.
He was nicknamed Wonder Bread for carrying his baseball glove in bags that originally contained the brand's products. Now, did he do that in the big leagues or was that as a child?
Right.
Because if he did that in the big leagues, that's brilliant. All right, that'll be a 2.7 for Rene Gonzalez. That's not bad. Who's he going against?
He's going against a guy you would normally think of as a Atlanta pitcher.
Zane.
The one and only, as they called him back when the Braves had absolutely nobody but Dale Murphy and Zane Smith. That's right. Pitching for the Expos in this picture, Zane Smith.
All right, that would either make it an 89 or a 90 then. Let's see, 13
90.
90. All right. Let's see. 13 years in the big leagues for Zane. Atlanta for 6, the Bucks for 6, and then Montreal for 2, and the Red Sox for 1. In 1990, he split time between the Expos and the Bucks. He overall went 12-9 with a 2.55 ERA, 215 innings pitched, 196 hits allowed, not bad, 130 strikeouts for a 143 ERA plus and a 4.1 WAR.
Wow.
Zane.
Go Zane.
That is clearly his best year by more than 1 point of WAR of his entire career.
No kidding.
Anything on that card going to help me anymore?
No, Zane's got a nice little high and tight haircut and just a look on his face of, I can't believe you just did that. So I don't know what's going on back there, but something.
He couldn't believe it wasn't butter is what the thing was.
That's what it was.
One time traded for a young Moises Alou. Is it just Moises? I have such a hard time forming my mouth when I see his first name.
I think that's right. Moises Alou.
Yeah, according to Baseball Reference, it's moist. That's just always, I struggle with that one.
Not to be confused with moistness.
Or Moses Alou.
Right, not those guys.
Famously parted the Lake Erie way back in the day to let the Canadians escape Detroit. I'm just making stuff up now, but we don't know that it's not true. Let's see. He enjoys listening to hard rock music. That's as close as we're going to get to anything that's going to alter the score, but I'll take it. That's 2-0, and I'm on my way. I think I've already figured out I believe you have the thread here, but now let's see if I can just wipe you away with a 3-0 shutout.
All right, let's see what happens. Cardinals catcher, and you can pronounce it either way.
Virgil.
No.
Ozzy.
There's an Ozzy in it, but it's his last name.
I was going to say Ozzy Timmons, but Ozzy's in his Ozzy, oi, oi, oi.
Very close.
I don't know.
Tom Pagnozzi.
Tom Pagnozzi. All right.
Or it could be Pagnozzi. I don't know.
I always said Pagnozzi.
Yeah. Because it sounds like nosy otherwise, and we don't know that about him.
No, we don't
He
know.
might not be nosy and gossipy at all.
We're gonna try and be nosy and see if he's got any pop culture. But let's see here. All 12 years of his big league career were with the Cardinals. What year is this?
This is a 91.
91. He's also the uncle of Matt Pagnozzi, who I do not know. But 1991 was his best year of his career, actually. 264 average, 319 on base, a 351 slug. This is still around the time when catchers were there for defense more than anything. And he did win his first of 3 Gold Gloves this year. So that's a bonus for you right there. OPS plus of 89, 2 home runs, 57 ribs, 9 stolen bases, 13 caught steals. 13.
That's pretty impressive.
Caught.
Wow.
I'm thinking, okay, so this is 91. This is the National League. Maybe he's batting 8th. The pitcher's trying to bunt, and they're just really bad at even making contact, and he's just getting thrown out because he's going. I don't know.
Okay, sure.
3.0 WAR, though. Anything on that card going to help you?
No, he's got the catching equipment on. He's showing the umpire. He's apparently tagged out Mark Lemke and is showing the ball to the umpire. He's out. A nice play by Tom Pagnozzi.
Well, I can tell you how Mark Lemke didn't get on base when he came around to score that run.
I can do that too. Yes, you're correct.
Let's see here. Pagnozzi's nephew, Matt Pagnozzi, was also a catcher and made his debut for the Cardinals in 2009. Placed in the top 5 in Cardinals franchise history in catcher defensive categories such as games caught, innings, putouts, stolen bases allowed, caught stealing, and fielding percentage for the Tom version of the Pagnozzi. But again, that's a 3.0 for you. Not bad. Your guys aren't bad. I just happen to be getting a little bit better guys.
Yeah. And Pagnozzi, by the way, an all-star in 92. So.
Oh, wait, I forgot to add your 10th of a point for that Gold Glove.
Oh, yes.
Or not 10th, a half a point for a Gold Glove.
All right. For you, I remember this guy, one of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Pitcher for the Red Sox, Eric Hetzel.
Eric Hetzel. How do you spell that last name?
Hetzel, like pretzel.
Well, I remember his card here. Looking at old Donruss card. I definitely remember this card, but I don't remember him at all.
This is a 90 tops.
All right. He pitched for 2 years in the big leagues, 89 and 90, both with Boston. Neither well. A minus .6 WAR both seasons, but in 1990 it was a little bit worse. A 1-4 record with a 5.91 ERA, 35 innings pitched, 39 hits allowed, struck out 20, walked 21 for an ERA plus of 70. Was a first round draft pick twice. First, he was a 13th overall pick by the Bucks in the 84 secondary draft, and then in the 85 draft, he was drafted number 1 overall by the Red Sox.
Wow, no kidding.
What other sport do you have a first overall pick fail as much as you do in baseball?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, it is just such a hard sport to really grasp who can play at a major league level when you're watching them in college, let alone high school.
Right.
Wow. I feel safe in saying there's not going to be a whole lot that's going to help me here. He has 6 kids and he's married to Catherine Arcanow of Cowley. Arcanow of Cowley. I don't know if that's a title or if that's her last name and she's from Cowley somewhere.
Yeah. Well, good for her. She's on the show.
Yeah. She's made her debut. All right. You get that one. Yeah. Oh, you're trailing 2-1.
All right. My next player, pitcher for the Blue Jays, Mauro Gazzo.
Oh, I remember Mauro Gazzo, at least the name. Let's see here. I'm guessing he's Italian. I'm just throwing it out there that he's got some Italian blood in him. Nicknamed Goose. That works.
Okay. Anybody with Gaz is nicknamed Goose.
Yeah, gotta be. All right. 6 years in the big leagues, 2 with the Mets and Tribe, 1 with Toronto and Minnesota. What year is this card from?
This is a 90 Fleer.
Oh, that's the only, one of 2 years where he had a positive ERA. No record, 2 games he appeared in, 3 innings, 2 hits, 2 strikeouts, 2 walks for an ERA plus of blank and a .2 WAR. Is there anything? He's got a mustache here. Does he have a mustache? All right.
He does have a mustache, a little caterpillar one.
Yeah. It's like a high school driving a van kind of thing.
Right.
Traded by the Mets with Ed Hearn to the Royals for David Cone. Also traded with for Bud Black. But I think that's it. Not sure that he's going to have much in the way of pop culture.
Probably not. Yeah.
No. Yeah, there's nothing there. So you do have 0.3 of a point. So that's good for you there. Who will he be going up against?
He will be going up against Cubs outfielder, third baseman, Luis Salazar. Sorry, Salazar. I read that wrong.
Salad bar. I like it. All right, Luis had a good career. He played for 13 years in the big leagues, 7 for the Padres, 4 for the Cubs, 2 for the White Sox, and 1 for the Detroit Tigers. What year is this card from?
This is a 90 top.
1990. All right. His age 34 season with the Cubs. Hit 254, 293 on base. That is not good. A 388 slug for an 80 OPS plus. He did have 12 home runs, 47 ribs, and 3 stolen bases for a .4 WAR. Now, does he have a mustache?
He does have a mustache.
Yeah, okay. So that's a .5. That gives me a little bit of breathing room in case he was on the very early steroid list or he was caught up in the Pittsburgh drug trials.
Yeah, I can't see that being an issue.
I don't think it is either, but
if he was doping, he was getting ripped off. They were giving him the fake stuff.
Yeah. He was traded for dirty Kurt Bavacqua at one point and was traded with Ozzie Guillen to the Chicago White Sox for Lamar Hoyt.
Okay.
So he's got that going for him. Let's see if there's anything else that's going to add or subtract here. Does not look like it.
No, I think you got me here.
Yeah. So yeah, that'll put me over the top. I started out hot and then I cooled off and you caught up and now I'm hot again. I'm up 7-4. So
yeah.
There we go.
We don't get to have the final battle, Rusty Kuntz versus Oscar Azócar.
Oh, Oscar. We just talked about Oscar Azócar during the stream on Friday. I threw that card up where he's hugging his bat. It was a studio card where he's just got his eyes closed and he's just hugging his bat. And I always have to say, find you somebody that looks at you like Oscar Azócar looks at his bat.
This one, he's got 2 bats and he's like chopsticks. He's got a baseball in between them.
Oh, I know what that one is. Yeah, that's a great card. He's got good cards.
He does. I'll give him credit for that.
Oscar Azócar. All right. Thank you. Thank you again, Marshall, for sending those in. If you want to send us any custom packs like this, curated packs, please feel free to. You can get a hold of us several different ways. And since that wraps up Wax Packs Heroes, we can start to wrap up the show and tell you exactly how you can get those kind of things to us. You can find us pretty much anywhere on the internet by doing a search for Two Strike Noise. That is, spell it out, TWO Strike Noise. You can find us on all the places. You can also find all of that information in the show notes. Mark also has an email address that he likes to flaunt that is also there, but he's going to tell you about right now.
Yes, one of them newfangled electronic mail things.
We're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, you can write to us there at Two Strike Noise. Again, spell it out, TWO Strike Noise at gmail.com.
Also, you can find me. I stream a couple of times a week, usually Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9 o'clock West Coast time on Twitch and YouTube, where we're doing baseball dailies. We do the grid. We do Starting 9, which is just my all-time favorite baseball daily game and stuff like that. We talk baseball, look at cards, sometimes watch videos. So if you want to join us, please do. We have a lot of fun there. And yeah, that'll do it for this episode. Mark, please get better, because we're gonna have to keep doing this again. We'll start back up weekly. We appreciate everybody. Hope everyone had a good holiday, a happy new year. And yeah, thank you for joining us. We'll see you on the next episode of Two Strike Noise.
Thank you. God bless you. Have a great day.